Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for the Tech Guy is provided by CacheFly. CacheFly.com. Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. The show originally aired on Saturday, December 12th, 2015. This is episode 1245. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast is brought to you by the Ring Video Doorbell. With Ring, you can see and talk to anyone at your door from anywhere in the world using your smartphone. It's like caller ID for your home. Right now, get free expedited FedEx shipping in time for the holidays when you go to ring.com/techguy. And by bowlandbranch.com, the most comfortable sheets on the planet. If you order right now, they'll give you 20% off your entire order plus free shipping. Just go to BOLLANDBRANCH.com and use the offer code TechGuy. And by Epson's new EcoTank printers. With Epson's line of Super Tank all-in-one printers, you can print thousands of documents without running out of ink. EcoTank, loaded and ready to print when you are. Visit Epson.com/EcoTank to find out more. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. Time to talk about computers and the internet and home theater and digital photography and maybe a little film photography too. Smartphones, smart watches, all that jazz. Anything with a chip in it. 8888-ASK. Leo's the phone number. 888-827-5536. That's toll-free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. Outside that area, you can still call the number, but you'll need to use Skype or something like that. And it should be free still. 888-827-5536. That is a noisy sound, isn't it? I have to turn off. You know what? You can imagine all the ringers and dingers and pingers that I have to turn off when I get here in the studio because I have all my stuff. I always say it's like when my phone rings, it's like a Swiss clockmakers at midnight. It just everything goes off like crazy. And I have silenced everything except for this because I wanted to show you. It's kind of crazy because it's radio, but I do want to show you. This is just came out, Google's Pixel C tablet, and that's what's making all the noise. Kind of a fun piece of hardware. It's roughly the size of an iPad Air, heavier and thicker. And I think Google really intends to make this more of a desktop replacement, much like Apple's iPad Pro, because it's $500 by itself, but they also, actually, maybe more like the Surface Pro. They also encourage you to buy a $180, yes, $180 keyboard. It's a little pricey, a little spency. And of course, the reviews are in. I wish I could show you how this does. It's the magnetic thing. So the keyboard is attached just by magnets, strong magnets. And the way you kind of set up the tablet to be more like a laptop is you slide the top part off and they separate it into two pieces. You flip it over and then you slide it up. Yeah, that's the noisy thing, isn't it? To a magnetic piece above the keyboard where it's snapped. Did you hear that? Snaps into place. And then you can tilt it up and it has variable tilting angles, which is something took Microsoft a while to figure out. Apple hasn't figured that out yet. And then it's kind of like looks a little bit like a laptop. Let me turn off the sounds on this thing, though. You shouldn't have to put up. When studio audiences come, we say, "Oh, make sure you turn everything off." But of course, Leo, he forgets to turn everything off. Put it into do not disturb mode. There you go. Forever. Thank you. I'll talk a little bit about that. I also got, we have a few new products. Usually, you don't see new products this time of year, because they want to get them in the store and everything. But I also I got something from Apple. Apple announced a new product, and because Apple doesn't announce very many new products, it got more attention than it really should, because it's just an iPhone case. Apple shipped shipped, and I got, so I guess they shipped it, a new iPhone case that has, it's a smart battery case is what they call it. It's a kind of this soft latex that or silicone, I guess, that Apple seems to be own. You know, they do. Even their plugs of their computers are made out of this. You almost want to touch it. It doesn't feel like anything. It's kind of soft, and then it looks like a python that's eaten a small rodent because it's got a lump in the middle. It's not a rodent, it's the battery. And people have kind of mocked the design of this case, but it's just a case. What I will mock is the price, which is about $100. That's a little pricey. You can get a better battery case in the sense of more battery for an iPhone for considerably less. But this has the Apple logo on it. And Apple does some nice things. You know, they understand how the iPhone works, so you know they're smart about the charging and stuff, and it works with a Lightning port. It's kind of a strange unit, but it's just a case. So let's not judge Apple. Do not judge me, they say, based on this one thing. I also got a present from Google, a Lego, because I use Google's Fi telecom service, their cellular service, Google Fi. I get all the Fi owners, which is probably about 500 people, got a Lego kit that you build a Lego charging stand for your phone. Okay, that's interesting. Anyway, thank you. Merry Christmas. Thank you, Google, or Happy Hanukkah, I guess. I've almost got 8 gifts here. Anyway, don't know why I'm showing you my booty from the week. I'm not showing you my booty from the week. The gifts I received. Oh, never mind. Never mind. What did you get for what kind of gifts are you giving? I'm giving somebody a BB-8 robot. You know, the little Star Wars thing? We're less than a week away from the new Star Wars movie. Hasn't been one in, how long, 20 years, right? Long time. So Star Wars is everywhere. Everywhere. Marketing, television, gifts, everything. But the BB-8's cute. It's a ball that rolls around. The robot moves by rolling the ball. Doesn't seem that interesting, but then it has a head on it that's not attached. It's attached by magnets, so it always is on the top as the ball rolls around. It kind of has a cute little effect. It can do a few things. It can patrol the house and drive the cats crazy. That's what I'm hoping. I'm giving it to the cats. Holiday gift buying, that's one of the things we certainly can talk about this week. It's better than the other stuff, you know, the depressing news. I don't want to talk about this is the toy store, the technology show. We don't talk about heavy-duty stuff. I'm interested in what Elon Musk is up to and some other well-known Silicon Valley gurus. They have pledged $1 billion to develop the next artificial intelligence. Now, on the face of it, that sounds terrifying, doesn't it? Here's some of the richest, smartest people in Silicon Valley banding together to create an artificial intelligence. A, it sounds scary because it sounds like they might actually succeed because they're really committed. But people are, and B, well, who knows? We've seen enough movies to now know that artificial intelligences are not the bestest things for humans' intelligences. They don't seem to, at least in the movies, share, you know, the regard for human life that we kind of consider fundamental. But the people are celebrating this because the idea of this, and it's called open AI, so it should make you feel good because it's open. It's open. And the idea is we don't want Google, Apple, Facebook, and Microsoft to dominate, or Uber for that matter, to dominate this research, to do for-profit artificial intelligences. We want them to benefit humanity. So it's a non-profit. It vows to make its results public. See, that's something you can't count on from Google and Apple and Microsoft and others. And its patents will be royalty-free. They're just going to give them, they'll patent it, but they'll give them away to ensure that the scary prospect, I'm reading this from Stephen Levy, writing on Medium. He's a great tech journalist. To ensure that the scary prospect of computers surpassing human intelligence may not be the dystopia that some people fear. I'm not sure, not sure how this ensures that. It sounds like they're saying, let's go, full speed ahead. It's time to make Skynet. Big money behind it, $1 billion. Elon Musk, Reid Hoffman, who started LinkedIn, Peter Thiel, who was one of the early investors in Facebook and others. Amazon Web Services. There's a big company. They've pledged more than $1 billion to be paid out over a long time period. It's not right away. And Elon Musk is one of the co-chairs. Now, Musk, who's the Tesla guy, right? And SpaceX, but Musk really wants to go to Mars. He says that's really what we should all be working on, is going to Mars. He has said in the past that we've got to be very careful about developing artificial intelligence because we don't want the robots to take over. Okay, good. I'm all for it. No robot takeovers. Give him $1 billion not to? I don't know. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Your call's next. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Happy 2 weeks to Christmas, second to last day of Hanukkah. This is a good time for geek gift giving, as I mentioned, and I'm glad to help you with that or anything on your mind having to do with technology. Phone number one more time, 8888-ASK-LEO, 888-827-5536. Website is, and this is good to remember, it's the only website you need to remember because anything I mention will be linked there or, there'll be discussion afterwards because we have, great comment section, all that. TechGuyLabs.com. TechGuyLabs.com. Kim Schaffer is here, our phone ranger for the day. She's answering the phones and helping us prepare you for your national radio exposure. Hello, Kim.
Good morning.
What should I start with today?
How about Steven in Seattle who needs help tracking mileage for work?
Oh, I can help him with that. Hi, Steven. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo. How's it going?
Oh, it's going great. Welcome.
I work installing countertops, and I have to drive to Everett and stuff far away. And I have to keep track of my mileage for work. I was wondering if there is some way to do that, either in an app or a device or something.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have that happen automatically. That's why I'm going to suggest the automatic. You can, of course, there are apps that, you get in the car and the app will track what you're doing and you say it's business or not. But this is more accurate because if you have a car built from 1996 and on, all cars built, well, almost all normal cars, not custom or, specialized cars built in the last 20 years have an OBD, onboard diagnostics port. And it's easily accessed. It's right below your steering wheel. It's in the front, the driver's side dash. You may never have noticed it, but if you go down there with a flashlight, there's these prongs sticking up. Normally, it's used by the shop. They plug in their machine and they can do the diagnostics. But there are companies that make little adapters that go on there that tie to your phone via Bluetooth. And the one in particular, and I should mention they're a sponsor on some of our podcasts, it's a little more expensive. You can get cheap inexpensive OBD2 devices. And if you shop around, there's lots of them out there. And then there are programs like Dash, D-A-S-H, that will tie to it. But one of the things I like about the automatic is it specifically will track mileage for business. So it'll know business trips. You can, after the fact, you could say that was a business trip. And it's very accurate because it has access to the car's computer. It also does things like tell you what those emergency lights are. It'll report back. If you have a smartwatch, it'll report back to the smartwatch. You can have it say, on Android only, alas, not on, it works for iPhone and Android, but Apple doesn't let apps do this. But on Android, an app can say, do not disturb while you're driving. It lets you know where your car is. I can even ask my Amazon Echo how much gas is in the car and how long my last trip was. So any device that's connected to the OBD port will do this. The one I recommend, because the easiest to set up, is the Automatic. And it's Automatic, AUTOMATIC.com. That's $100. Now, as I said, there are $30 adapters that will do the same thing with a little bit of help, but this is specifically designed to do that. There's also software, as I said. If you have a smartphone, your smartphone knows where you're going and what you're doing, and it's easy enough. But it's using GPS, so this is very specific because and they have an app gallery that'll tie into this completely, including, for fleet. They have fleet management stuff. If you want to do invoicing, FreshBooks, another sponsor of ours, their app will look at the automatic and say, oh, that was a business trip, and add it to your invoice. Expensify is another very popular expense program that is automatic enabled. So because automatic has a lot of third-party apps that work with this, that's the one I like. And yeah, it's a little more expensive. Although I think if you shop around, I think there are some really good, right now, there's some really good deals on it. Works with the Nest thermostat. You pull up to the house, the automatic calls the Nest and says, turn the heat up or turn the AC on, depending on what time of year. There's a lot of stuff this will tie to, including for kids. There are driving trainers, because one of the things the automatic will do is let you know if you have accelerated abruptly or jammed on the brakes or gone past a certain speed. Very interesting stuff. And again, a disclaimer, I'm not doing an ad here, and so to be fair, I'll mention that there are many other OBD2 devices. And then the software I recommend if you get something besides automatic is called Dash. But automatic has kind of made the partnerships, they've made the deals. They are a sponsor of some of our podcasts. So this is a good idea. And it does require a smartphone. Well, actually, it doesn't require a smartphone. It'll do its thing. But the smartphone is the readout. So without the smartphone, I'm not sure exactly how it would work or how much it would do for you. I use one on my car, and it's really cool. I mean, it knows, it knows everything. It can tell you about every trip you take, gives you a map of the trip, how many miles, how much gas you used, and it calculates the gas cost based on the last place you filled up. I mean, it's smart, and I like that. Let's see. Scott Wilkinson, our home theater guru, coming up in just a little bit. So I'm not sure I want to get into another call. We'll try. Lou will be patient if I have to put him on hold again. Lou in Pasadena, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Lou.
Hi, Leo. I got hacked on my computer, and
oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's not really the problem. The problem is fixing it. But they took my name, first and last, that created 2 phony addresses or more, sent out crap to people. And
Yahoo Mail, just out of curiosity, was it Yahoo Mail?
Yes.
Why is it that Yahoo Mail gets hacked every time? I don't understand it.
So what I did is I took the computer into the Staples shop to have the techs clean it.
Probably not related, by the way.
I don't know.
But it's prudent.
So that was the first thing I did. The second thing, I realized I started to change my passwords on my cell phone, not from my computer. Then I realized that while the computer was in the shop, I sent an email from my cell phone, and when I looked at it later, it was actually coming from one of the phony addresses.
Yeah. Did you change the Yahoo Mail address password immediately?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Good. All right. But they've created other addresses, and they know about you now, and then you're not going to be able to control that.
I changed all my passwords, the banks, everything.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So then I go to the iPhone shop, and they say it's not in the iPhone. We checked it out.
Yeah, it's not. Hang on. I do have to take a break, but and we're going to do Scott Wilkinson. When I come back, there's a lot of paranoia. I'll tell you what you should worry about and not worry about. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Scott Wilkinson's here. He's got perfect vision because he is our home theater guru, and he has to have perfect vision. Hello, Scott.
Hello,
How did
Leo.
the Tuba Christmas go?
It's tomorrow night.
Oh, how
coming right
exciting.
up.
Haven't missed it. TubaChristmasLA.com if you're in the Southland.
Yeah,
check it out.
It's gonna be epic.
It's gonna be epic. It's gonna be tubular, so to speak.
It's gonna be very tubular.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
150 tubas on stage playing Christmas music. Pretty cool. And you get to hear me sing.
You know, they say when you in a rock concert, You know, when
Yeah.
Mick Jagger comes out, you know, big star comes out at a rock concert, you can feel the wind from the breath of 20,000 fans all roaring at the same time. There's this kind of, but I think it would be the other way around at a 150 tuba concert. You'd feel the wind of the 150 tubas.
You would, yes, you do. It blows my hair back, yeah.
Does it really? No.
Sorta.
Sorta. It blows your beard back.
It certainly blows my beard back. Yeah, exactly.
Scott is the editor at the editor of the AVS Forum, the content at the AVS Forum at avsforum.com. Great site for anybody who's into video and audio and home theater. In fact, it's kind of like a must visit. When I wrote the book on hacking the TiVo, that was really mostly the AVS Forum that helped us.
Yeah,
do that. It's great stuff. You also do and you'll find it there at avsforum.com, a fabulous podcast called the Home Theater Geek Podcast. You had Bob Katz on talking about mastering records.
Oh man, he is amazing. He is really amazing. We played a bunch of audio clips from some of his work, and you could really hear, even through compressed sound of streaming and whatever, you could still hear the quality of the work. It's really beautiful, and a bunch of different musical genres as well.
Nice.
So I really recommend you go check out that podcast, because he's got a lot of interesting things to say, and we play some really cool music. It was great.
I notice you have a whole gift guide of projectors on the AVS Forum now, which is awesome. That's great.
Yep.
What do you want? You got a viewer question, a listener question?
I do have a listener question. Yeah. Bruce Scarlatta wrote me and said he purchased a Vizio M60 TV based on my recommendation, talking here on The Tech Guy.
Yes.
And he loves it, and I'm so happy that he does. It would have been so much worse if he said, this thing is crap. No, it's very good. And but he was wondering how to optimize the picture quality. He said, is there a tutorial somewhere for that? And I said, well, not exactly on that TV specifically. I did write a generic or a general 12 tips to tune up your TV. But the problem with writing such an article, and that's on AVS Forum, you can easily find it. The problem with writing such an article is that different manufacturers have different names for things. And so you can't really say, well, go to this control and set it to that, because if it's a Samsung, it'll be the control will be named one thing and the setting will be named one thing. And if it's a Vizio, it'll be named something different. So that's a real problem. So what I did was I actually posted a thing on AVS Forum. It's on the homepage now, which basically outlines the process for the Vizio M60. And I know a lot of people bought Vizio M, some hopefully based on my recommendations, and hopefully, everybody's digging it, because I know I do. Whenever I see one, I think it looks great. But as we've said before on the show, you do have to do a couple of things in order for it to look as natural and good as possible. TVs come out of the box, they're usually in this bright as heck mode, and you need sunglasses to watch them. And in the showroom, that makes total sense, and that's why they're set that way, because the manufacturer doesn't know, well, which TV is the retailer going to take out and put on their showroom floor. And whichever one they do, it has to be really bright as possible, because it's right next door to all these other TVs that are as bright as possible. But when you get at home, you don't live, hopefully you don't live in a storeroom, a showroom floor, so you don't have that bright light in your room. Even if you have the lights on in the room, it's nowhere near a showroom floor. So you have to tone it down a bit in order to get the best performance out of it.
This is challenging because people like bright. I mean, that's part of the reason they set them bright. They sell better. It's one of the reasons plasma's gone.
That's right.
And
that's
LCD
exactly
TVs have dominated because they can be brighter.
Much brighter. Yeah. Much brighter.
So
that's exactly right.
So
people do like it. They respond to it. They go, if you see two pictures next to each other and one of them's brighter, you'll say, oh, that brighter one, that's the better picture, even if everything else is identical. And that's the challenge of calibration, because, and I know when you calibrated my plasma, that was my reaction is, oh, that's dull looking. But so what you're going for is a more accurate reproduction of what the filmmaker intended. Correct. That's exactly correct. By the way, when you get used to it, it is preferable. For instance, the first thing I noticed is watching football was the grass, instead of being fluorescent green as it had been, neon
looked
green.
like actual grass.
Yes.
And
yes.
at first you go, boy, that's dull grass, because you're used to the Las Vegas look. But eventually you appreciate it.
Yep.
And it looks better. It does look better. And you're looking at, when you're watching movies especially, it makes a big difference.
Oh, huge difference. So I very strongly recommend that you do this. Even the basic stuff that's outlined in this article on AVS, which isn't a full calibration. But if you just do the basic stuff that I outline here, you'll get 70 or 80% of the way toward what a full calibration would give you in terms of accuracy, in terms of reproducing what the director intended, a more comfortable, a more natural look, as you say.
Speaking of which, I need to do that to your monitor because you're awfully bright. Oh, good. I've put you in movie mode, and you look so much better.
See?
On the TV behind me. It's a radio show, but we might as well calibrate every monitor in the studio.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Is your shirt red?
My shirt is
red. Your
red.
beard is white?
That's right.
All right. If these colors look correct to you, that's an old color TV ad. Remember the early color TVs? Nothing looked right. Everything looked weird.
Looked terrible.
My dad wouldn't buy us one. We had black and white. He says, I'll buy you one when skin doesn't look pink.
Well, there would have been a way to control that, but it would have involved,
Not
taking a little.
Yeah.
You would have had to gone in with a little screwdriver and adjust a little.
It never looked completely natural. In fact, if you saw the TV sets from those early color TV shows, everything was fluorescent because they wanted. It's the same thing. They wanted it to look. They wanted it to pop.
Yep. Exactly right. And it just, to my eye, I'm somewhat trained, of course, and my eye, it just looks horrible.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, don't know the difference, or they don't know that there's a different way to do it. And so I was super happy to get this letter of saying, how do I get the best possible picture?
Can you? I mean, aren't these screens all pretty similar? Can't you just put out kind of like the best default settings? And I understand you didn't go out there and measure the screen, but couldn't you does anybody do that? Put out, like, if you've got this model, set it like this, it'll get as close as you can be?
That's a very good question. And when a lot of reviewers review TVs, they will do that. They'll publish their settings. But there's a problem with that, and that is there are variations from one sample of a given model to another sample of the same model, because there are manufacturing tolerances and so on. So my settings on my TV won't be exactly the same. They'll be close. They won't be, terribly
that's kind of like, let's get as close as we can kind of a thing.
Yeah. So I have done that too. I've published my settings, and other people use them, but I really still encourage you to go and do it for your TV to, get that extra few percent of performance, and you won't be sorry.
Scott Wilkinson, avsforum.com. That's where you can find all his work, including the Home Theater Geeks podcast, or you can get it on our site, twit.tv/HTG. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Now, we're going to talk about getting hacked when we come back. Stay tuned.
Zonk.
All yours, Mr. Wilkinson. Let me turn
thank
this
you.
off.
Thank you very much.
There you go.
Mike Heiss in the chat room. Hey, Mike, how you doing? He says, forget when there were TV ads about brightness. Remember when there were ads at all for TV on TV? And that's a good point. Although, you know what? Lately, I have started seeing some ads for TVs. Vizio has actually quite an ad campaign. I've seen that a number of times very recently for their 4K TVs. And it's kind of a cool ad, actually. They take a camera and they pan around 360 degrees in slow-mo with, I guess people are watching a football game or something, and they're all, cheering and jumping up and down and so on. And it goes around 360 degrees and finally ends up on the TV screen. So that's kind of a cool ad, and I've seen it very recently. Samsung, I've also seen recent TV ads for their SUHD or 4K TVs as well. So it does actually happen, but you're right, it's not nearly as often as it used to be. User 9090 and I have been talking about setting up a TV to minimize blurriness and motion blur. And what I said there to him, and I'll repeat here, is that you can he asked about MPEG filter reduction, and he said he gets a lot of pixelation and blockiness in the image. And if that's the case, then yeah, maybe the MPEG filter might help. Give it a try and see. But it's not going to help in motion blurriness or detail. That is going to be either frame interpolation, which in the case of the Samsung, I think this is his TV, is a control called Auto Motion Plus. And that has two sub-controls, one called judder reduction and one, I forget what the other one is called. Mike, maybe you might know. But in any event, one of them does frame interpolation for 24 frames per second, 24 hertz as we call it, movies, and the other one does it for 30 and 60 hertz. And the 24 hertz one is the one that's really going to give you this weird thing called the soap opera effect. So I don't recommend that, particularly if you object to the soap opera effect. Crank it up, see what it looks like. You're going to see that movies look more like video. It's not so bad when you're doing it to video content because video is already video. So it's not going to be as bad. The other way to do it is with what's called backlight flashing. And on the Samsung, that is called LED Motion Plus, I believe, or LED Clear Motion, depending on the model. And you can crank that up all you want, and it will sharpen up motion detail. It might also induce flickering. And some people are more sensitive to that than others. So if you're very sensitive, if you crank it up and you're very sensitive to flickering, you'll see flickering and you won't like it. So turn it back down. That is the what we've been talking about here. And I mentioned something about other motion artifacts when you crank up the I don't have much time yet. But I'll be happy to continue this at the top of the hour if Leo will be kind enough to allow me to do that.
Indeed, if you will stick around, it will be all yours, my friend.
I'd be happy to. Thank you so much.
Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888. Ask Leo. Lou in Pasadena, our second caller of the day, says his Yahoo account has been hacked and somebody was sending email out, created some addresses. I'm not sure how that happened. I think his concern was that his computer or phone were hacked. And I should point out that Yahoo email, for some reason, we've never really figured it out. I guessed it was Yahoo, and he confirmed it. Gets hacked a lot. I don't know if there's some practice that Yahoo is using that is less secure or what. But I've told this story many times. I got an email from my gardener and his Yahoo address, my landscape guy, saying, help me. I've been traveling in Europe, and my wallet and all my identity documents got stolen, and I just need, if you could just, I want to come home, and of course I'll pay you back immediately, but just wire me $2,000. And he, he said, I'll be back to do your garden. He knew some details. The bad guy knew some details about our gardener. Now, it was a little puzzling because he just came the day before, so it wasn't me. I kind of had a sense it wasn't real, but you could see I'd be very somewhat convincing to somebody because of the personal details. And what, of course, what has transpired is that somebody had gotten into his Yahoo Mail account and read the mail, got enough personal details to be able to spoof him. And then, of course, as one of the things that's stored in your Yahoo Mail, if you have the context stored there, is all your other email addresses. And if not, he can still go through the sent box and find email addresses and then send out similar requests asking for money. And that, I presume that's what the fake accounts were that our caller Lou mentioned. That can all happen at Yahoo's end. None of that requires somebody hacking your computer. In fact, that's much less likely. Much less likely. If they hack your computer, really, they have much more valuable things to do than send out phony emails to your Yahoo friends. So the first thing to check is it's Yahoo, right? It's coming from my Yahoo email account. It's change your Yahoo password immediately. Yahoo Mail has added, I believe, two-factor authentication. So I would turn that on. That means when you first log in, I should check this because if they haven't added it, then my advice would be to stop using Yahoo Mail. Now, I know AT&T and others use Yahoo Mail as their default mail service. They don't offer their own mail service. Doesn't mean you have to use it. I have my ISP Comcast has I have a Comcast email account. Doesn't mean I give it out or use it in any way. My suggestion would be to create an account somewhere else, somewhere that doesn't get hacked as often as Yahoo email. Let me just check though if they have two-factor. That will help because I guess they don't. That's too bad. What is two-factor? And this is something, by the way, you should use. If anybody offers this, it's a minor inconvenience, but it is a huge security step to take towards your security. Yes, good. Yahoo has activated two-factor, so that's very good news. So let me explain what two-factor is and why this is a good thing. And Twitter does it, Facebook does it, Google does it. You should absolutely use an email provider that supports it. Your bank should support it. The idea is that it all comes down to authentication. How do you prove you are you? And as you can see, this is very important because otherwise your email can be spoofed. How do you prove that you are you? Well, up till recently, I mean, because we're on the internet, we can't just show them our driver's license. That's how you prove you are you at the bank, right? With a picture ID, government issue picture ID, getting on an airplane, right? Because it doesn't work with a bank. It doesn't work with Yahoo. So up till recently, you've had a login, which is usually your email, and a password. And if that's something you know, but you can verify your identity with something you know, something you have, like your driver's license, or something you are, and that would be a fingerprint, something you fit, like your iris scan. Those are the three most common ways to verify your identity: something you know, something you have, something you are. Two-factor uses two of those three. It's not a second password. That would be two things you know. That's not what we want. So two-factor is based on something you have. So that means either, and originally this is how it was done, you have a card or a little keychain device that gives you a 6-digit code. That code generated by that physical device is asked for in addition to your password. That's two factors. And the theory being, well, the bad guy might figure out your password, either guess it or somehow see it or get it somehow, maybe hack you. But it's unlikely the bad guy would also have this dongle or this card. That makes it so much stronger. Almost everybody does two-factor now by texting you the 6-digit or longer code, because that's something you have, your cell phone and that phone number. Sometimes they use an authenticator, which is a program you'll run on your cell phone or your computer that authenticates you. That's something, in theory, it's closer to something you have. It sounds like a second password. It's not, really. Nowadays, with Microsoft Hello, the Apple iPhone, many other iPhones, it can be something you are, your fingerprint. In fact, the new Windows phones use iPrints, iris scans. That's another kind of factor. So combining any two is more than twice as secure. I mean, it really makes a big difference in security. Turn that on wherever you can. In the case of most of these, like Yahoo Mail, it's only the first time you log in from a new device. But think about it. A bad guy, even if a bad guy got your password, now he's going to have to create those emails from his computer. That means he's going to log in from his computer. Yahoo will say, oh, you've never logged in from this device, and will ask for that second factor, and boom, he's stopped cold. So I think this is very important. We'll put a link in the show notes at Tech Guy Labs to how to protect your Yahoo Mail with two-step authentication. It's Yahoo now has it in the Yahoo Help. You want to turn it on. You go to your Yahoo account, go to security, select two-step verification. You'll need a smartphone. So you can even do it by a phone call, by the way. They can have an automated phone call to a number. It could be a landline. It says, your secret code is 4321974. And then you enter that in. It's really important. There are some inconveniences. Sometimes if you use Yahoo or Google to log into other applications, those applications aren't smart about this. You'll need a special app password, things like that. But boy, it makes a big difference. Please use it. Twitter, Facebook, Google, Yahoo. Your bank, if your bank's not using it, tell them to. I think all banks now use it. I'm not talking about that stupid picture. Banks have finally realized that's a dummy thing. No, I'm talking about having your bank having a phone number that it texts a number to, and if your bank doesn't do that, and if they do it, turn it on. So don't worry so much about that. Oh, I got hacked. In this case, it's not you that got hacked. It's Yahoo that got hacked. It's not imprudent to do everything that he did. Lou brought his computer in, made sure it was cleaned of any viruses. His iPhone, is very unlikely that your iPhone would be the problem, but he made sure he checked that. And he changed all his passwords. That's just good hygiene. You should do that anyway. I once asked, we had a security guy, Mikko Hopponen from F-Secure, one of the biggest security firms in the world. And I asked him what his #1 security tip was. And his answer kind of shocked me. He said, back up. What? Back everything up. And I'll talk about that. But I hope that helps a little bit. In our next call, I'm going to go to Los Angeles. Michael's been asked to change his Yahoo password 3 times this week. Why? Aha. It's kind of related, isn't it? We'll talk about that in just a second. We're going to take a break. News at the top of the hour. Then we'll talk a little bit about Yahoo. Well, I guess he's gone. So I guess he got the message. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
You got scared when you said his name.
No, you know what? I think he said, I don't need to talk to you. You told me what to do. Yeah. You answered the question. Yeah, we'll put this link in the show notes because that's a good link. All right, Scotty's back. Scotty's back. Here we go, Scotty. All yours, my friend.
Thank you so much. Battlecam and I have been talking about why don't I review Scepter and Insignia and Element and some of these off-brand TVs? And the answer so far is that from what I've seen of them, and I have seen a few, I haven't reviewed any, but I've seen some, and generally I think they look pretty bad. Now, that isn't to say that they all look bad. There might be some that are good, and Battlecam makes a good point that if I were to actually review one or two and be able to compare it to the name brands of Samsung, Sony, LG, and so on, Vizio, then I'd have a greater basis on which to base that opinion. And he's right. He's absolutely right about that. So I will see what I can do. I've got a few things in my review queue at the moment, so it's not going to happen right away. But I hope Battlecam bought one of these Scepters, a 49-inch, for $350. It's a 4K TV apparently. So that's pretty amazing. User 0964 asked, how can you find out how to access the secret calibration menus in TVs? And the answer is there really aren't any anymore. There used to be. That was a very common thing. You needed either a special remote or a special code and a special button sequence on the remote to get into this secret calibration menu. But nowadays, virtually all TVs, the calibration controls are in the user menu. So you don't need to do that. There may very well be a service menu, but that's going to mostly be in the language of hexadecimal. So there isn't going to, and very cryptic abbreviations. So there's no reason to go in there unless you're a factory authorized technician. And you'll know how to do that if you are. And if you're not, there's no reason to go there. You can do the full calibration right from the user menu, and it's not going to be a big deal. Jerry NYC was asking about the difference between the Sony X900C and the Samsung JS9000F. And Best Buy says that the 900C is HDR compatible. What does that mean? And what it means is that with a firmware update, the Sony can, in fact, reproduce high dynamic range content. I don't know whether they've actually implemented or issued that firmware update yet. They were saying they were going to in June, that it was coming. But, who knows when that might actually be. Maybe it has happened already. I haven't asked Sony lately. But it's a good idea. I should ask them and see. HDR compatible basically means that it could do HDR if it had the firmware update. By contrast, the Samsung JS9000 already does HDR, does it from the start. That was the whole point of Samsung's SUHD televisions, which the JS9000 is. Anything with a JS in the model number means that it's an SUHD, and it should be able to do HDR. Now, I will say I just recently was made aware of a JS8000, I think, which seems to have, the information I have so far seems to indicate that it's an 8-bit panel. That is, that the LCD panel itself has 8-bit resolution. And if that's true, it can't do high dynamic range, because high dynamic range needs at least 10 bits in the panel and all the processing electronics in the TV. So if the processing electronics have 10 bits resolution, that's fine. But if it then hits an 8-bit panel, those extra 2 bits, the benefit of them is going to be lost. So that's quite surprising to me. I just learned that a day or two ago, and I need to research that to see if it's really true. Because if it is, then calling it SUHD or calling it high dynamic range is difficult. Todd is saying, any idea why I can't seem to find the right code anywhere to sync my Samsung soundbar and Apex television with my Comcast remote? A Comcast remote certainly is a universal remote, and it has a database of codes in it for all the different TVs and other devices, but it can't have everything. It's got the common ones: Sony, Samsung, Vizio, probably Philips, LG, Panasonic, but it might very well not have Apex televisions. That's another of those off-brands we were talking about earlier. It may not have Scepter, Element, or Insignia in there either, in which case won't do it. The Samsung soundbar, I'm kind of surprised if it doesn't do that, because that would be a fairly common code. So that's you might be out of luck there. Sybil was busy admiring her 24-bit colored fluorescent green grass. I hope you get that fixed, will you? It really is going to be good. Going to be better if you're not looking at fluorescent grass. Let's see. Emily the Strange, have I ever thought about doing a fundamentals show on Home Theater Geeks? I have. The whole point of the show is to interview people in the industry who have interesting things to say, and people who enjoy following that industry might never have heard before. But we do other things as well. We do a Q&A show once in a while and a few other things. So doing a fundamental show, it's a good idea. I'll see if I can put that in there. Dr. Mack, suggestions for setting up a TV CRT and LCD. I'm sensitive to the light from the screen when watching an extended amount of time. This is my parents' TV, currently CRT. Boy, setting up a CRT TV is generally not very easy. I alluded to it there on the segment. Ultimately, if you wanted to really calibrate a CRT TV, you have to open up the cabinet, go in there. There'd be little trim pots and rheostats and other little gizmos that you'd have to manually adjust while displaying analog test patterns, and get good luck finding an analog test pattern generator. So that's not going to be very easy to do. LCD TVs, relatively easy. And you can certainly turn them down. If you're sensitive to light from the screen when watching for an extended period, just turn down the backlight on an LCD TV. That's a very easy thing to do. In the main picture menu, there's undoubtedly a control called backlight, and that just determines the brightness of the picture overall. So just turn that down until you're comfortable, and that should really help you a lot. Let's see. User 6084, can I recommend a good but relatively affordable home theater projector? Yes, absolutely. Go to avsforum.com and look at my 2015 AVS holiday gift guide for projectors. There's one there, the BenQ W1070, for list price for $1,100. You can get it for less than that. It's a pretty old model. It's been around several years, but it's a favorite among AVS members for budget projectors. If you can spend more than that, the Epson 5030, 5030 UB I believe lists for $2,600. You can get it for less than that. And a number of people have commented that the Sony VPL HW55ES is comparable to the Epson. Some people like it better. So there you go.
Thanks, Scott. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Happy Tuba.
Merry Tuba Christmas.
Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy, talking about computers and the internet and home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smart watches, and all that jazz. 88 Ask Leo, which also talking about protecting yourself online. This whole password thing we were talking about last hour, and protecting yourself by having a second factor and all of that. But this whole password thing really is a mess. And if you think about it, it's brand new. You didn't have a password. Maybe if you're trying to get into a speakeasy, the password is swordfish. Maybe, we had to remember our locker combinations in high school. But this is brand new that we would have to remember a huge variety of passwords, one for every website or online service that we use. And, those passwords are best when they're not memorable. A good password, it's very simple. The rule for passwords are great. It's very simple. The best password is the most random. And the more different kinds of characters you use, the better. And by that, I mean upper and lowercase letters, numbers, and symbols, punctuation. Mix that up. That's why sometimes, a site will say something like, and you have to have one number in there. By the way, that is from a purely technical point of view, not a good thing to do. Any clue to a bad guy trying to guess the password, and by the way, they don't do it manually. Let's see, is it monkey? They use a computer that can guess millions of times a second. And they'll guess based on what they know people often do, QWERTY, or words in the dictionary. They have giant dictionaries. They can very easily go through a huge variety of dictionary words and combinations of dictionary words and numbers. Brute force is very sophisticated. People who have these brute force tools to hack passwords are very sophisticated. There are a lot of ways of kind of defeating brute force. A brute force password hack is easiest if I have the password database and I can try it again and again and again as fast as possible. If you're trying to log into a website, most websites after 3 tries, they'll slow you down. That's why on your iPhone, you have a thing that after 10 times, you want me to wipe the iPhone? Figure if you knew the password, you would have figured it out in 10 tries. So if somebody's tried it more than 10 times, it'll actually erase your iPhone. That's a setting on the iPhone. That's all in an attempt to prevent brute forcing the password or the passcode. But the best passcode is as random and as long as possible. That's the best password. That's it. That's period. But guess what? That's also the hardest possible thing to remember. And since we now have to remember passwords, people tend to do a lot of kind of bad things. They make passwords that are easy to remember. What did you do when the first password you had to make up probably was your PIN code for your ATM, right? Those predated websites. What do people use? Birthdays, right? Anniversaries. Those are not good. Those are eminently guessable. Maybe if you were really smart, you'd reverse it. And then the worst thing people do is they reuse a password. I got a good one. And I remember when in the early days of the internet, I did that too. I had a password that I could remember. It was an acronym. That's one thing people often do. Use, kind of the first letter of a phrase. And or sometimes they use a phrase itself. That's not a good idea because those words are all in the dictionary, right? So I think sometimes people think that's a good way to do it. It has the advantage of being long. It does make it harder to break. The longer the password, the better. But don't reuse passwords. And they should be really, random. That's why we always tell people, get a password manager. Then you only have to remember one password. That's the password to unlock the vault. And all the passwords are stored in the vault. And that's a much better way to do it. In fact, you can let the password manager make up the password since you don't have to remember them anymore. And they can be long. 20, 30, 40, 50 characters, really long. As long as the bank or website will let you make it is how long you should make it. And there really there shouldn't be any arbitrary limits on length. I don't like it when banks specify things like you must have one number, because that reduces the total possible set. They have to do that because people don't make good passwords. But what do? You have to have a number? Okay, monkey 1. Solves that, right? It's the first thing crooks guess, by the way. Just in case you're curious. Get a password manager. I use LastPass. There's 1Password. There's Dashlane, RoboForm, Keeper. There are a lot of good password managers. Doesn't really matter which you use. Although, as some smarty pants will point out, if you've put all your passwords in a password manager, you better make sure it's a good one, because now you have a single point of failure. If the bad guy can get your password vault and unlock it, well, now you're really in trouble. So that's why I use LastPass. I know it to be good. I have a very obscure, long, difficult password for it, and I change it regularly. And I let it generate passwords that are completely unmemorable and random. And that way, I feel better. It's still a terrible system. It's still a terrible system. We just don't have anything better yet. Lots of companies working on better ways to do this. Until then, turn on two-factor. Then, even if your password gets broken, and it probably won't if you do all of this, but even if it does, now somebody has to have access to your phone too, and that's good hygiene. I hope that helps everybody, and good luck. Oh, that was one more thing I want to talk about. Don't be paranoid. I think we talk so much about these breaches that everybody's now terrified. You don't need to be paranoid. They're also doing a lot of things you don't need to do because they're, really, don't be paranoid. Just be smart. You know what I'll do? Somewhere I'll find this. There is an excellent website, and we'll put this in the show notes, the Tech Guy Lab show notes. Interviewed a guy about security. He wrote a great book on security. And he came up with a mnemonic for security rules. It was really good. I have to find the book. It's on my bookshelf back here. I'll find it and I'll read it. I think it was update. The word was update, the first letters of the word update. But I'll find it for you and I'll tell you what those are. Meanwhile, let's move on. Richard, Los Angeles is next. Hi, Richard. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy.
Hi. Hello?
Don't listen to the radio. Listen to me.
Okay.
Well,
okay.
Listen to the radio, but, listen.
Yes. I just got a new Dell computer. It has Windows 10, and I don't know how to do routine maintenance, things like clearing cookies and temporary files without deleting saved passwords.
I wouldn't. In other words, nowadays, modern operating systems, you don't need to do routine maintenance if they're well designed, and Windows 10 is well designed. You don't need to, people still think you have to defrag disks. You don't. Don't defrag disks. Clearing out temporary files may make you feel better. Sometimes people do this in the registry. It may make you feel better, but that's a human kind of anthrocentric point of view of how a computer works. Your computer clears out temp files automatically. It does all of this automatically. And frankly, you should let it do it, because if you're doing it yourself, there's always the risk that you'll delete something you shouldn't have had and things will break. You have a modern computer with a very modern operating system. It's quite well designed. There is no evidence at all that you need to do any routine maintenance. It's not a car. It's not. I know we want it. We want to clean up. No, don't. Stop. Just stop. You have one thing in your life you don't have to maintain and clean. You don't have to change the oil in your computer. You don't have to rotate its mouse tires. Just let it be, because the operating system's doing it all. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Let me go get that book. Hey, our show today brought to you by my doorbell. I love my doorbell. Where is it? My Ring video doorbell. It's I could show you on the web. If you go to ring.com, you can learn all about it. Ring.com. Actually, go to Ring. If you would, go to ring.com/techguy. You'll help support the Tech Guy show, because They're an advertiser. They're a sponsor. Here's the idea. This is a doorbell that can replace your existing doorbell, but has so much more. It has a built-in, very wide-angle camera, so you can see everything that's going on in your porch. It has a microphone and a speaker. And here's the beauty part. It connects to your Wi-Fi. And now you can answer the door wherever you are, at work, across the world. And that's good for a couple of reasons. First of all, if it's a bad guy, they ring the doorbell. You know, 95% of all robberies, home robberies, happen in the daytime when you're at work, or they think you're at work. They always ring the doorbell because they want to make sure you are. If you don't answer, they go around back and break in. But with the Ring video doorbell, you do answer. You go, yeah, what? I'm in the shower. Oh, wrong number. Bye. And they run off. And even if they don't, you got good, crystal clear video. So you win either way. It's also great if packages come. You can see who's coming and going. It actually on your smartphone, Windows phone, iOS or Android, it'll show you a record by time. So I always know when my daughter comes home late. I know who's coming and going. It's really handy for that. I have it ring my phone when somebody rings the doorbell, so I always know, or there's any motion outside the house. It's a motion detector too. Great if you're getting packages delivered, not only because you can accept the package, but also you can keep an eye on it, because people sometimes come by and steal stuff off your porch. It's like having a neighbor keep an eye on your home 24/7 minus the judgment. I love my Ring video doorbell. It's easy to install. I'm no handyman. It took me about half an hour. If you don't have a wired doorbell, they even have a little Ring ding device that plugs into the wall and will ding your doorbell because it has battery in it. You don't have to have it wired. Works fine with a wired doorbell, though. Your old doorbell will still ring. But everything else does, too. This year, give the peace. I'm going to give this to my mom. I love this. Give the gift of peace of mind and convenience with the video doorbell. Time Magazine named one of their top 10 gadgets, the Ring video doorbell. We got a good deal for you. It's expedited FedEx shipping, so you can get it in time for the holidays, but you got to go to ring.com/techguy. Free FedEx expedited shipping. Ring.com/techguy. We love these. And yeah, you can be, I do this sometimes on my day off. I'm still in bed at, 9 o'clock. Somebody rings the doorbell. I can decide whether I want to answer it. I love it. You'll see me all the time, actually, when I'm doing the shows. Oh, somebody's at my door. Ring.com/techguy. I love it. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I went to the bookshelf, and I found this book. I'd interviewed the author, earlier this year. It's called Future Crimes. I love the subtitle. Everything is connected. Everyone is vulnerable, and what we can do about it. And the guy who wrote it, Mark Goodman, was a forensics expert for, I think it was the LAPD. Worked as a street police officer and became a security guy. He got the job initially because his sergeant said, "Hey, is there anybody here who knows how to, form feed in WordPerfect? Now, what's the keystroke for saving a new document in WordPerfect?" And Mark, I think it's Control F6. Goodman, come here. You're hired. You're our new forensics expert. But he has since become was a futurist in residence with the FBI, a senior advisor to Interpol, and the founder of the Future Crimes Institute. So he has a website, and I'm going to put this in the show notes. You could buy the book. It's a great book. But, frankly, the best part of the book is what he calls his update protocol. And it's UPDATE. Makes it easy to remember. Very important. And really will, I think, just doing these things, these 6 things, will be enough, I believe, to at least protect yourself against 99% of the threats out there. And number 1 of update is you. Update. Update frequently. Update your operating system, update your browser, anything that goes on the internet, and that includes browser plugins like Flash, very important, Adobe Reader, very important. Keep those up to date. Good news is all operating systems, all browsers, and most plugins like Flash now do this automatically. You don't even have to think about it. They just update whenever there's something to fix. Those updates are critical because vulnerabilities, holes, flaws, bugs, it's all different words for the same thing. A bug in the software that lets a bad guy get into your computer and do what he wants. So by keeping your computer up to date, you are plugging those holes. It's extremely important. Now, be careful because bad guys take advantage of this by, for instance, sending you an email saying, hey, you won't believe what you did last night. Fortunately, I have video of it. And you go, what did I do last night? I thought I was home. Oh, my God. And you click the link, and the video goes to a site that looks, it's YouTube. It looks like YouTube anyway, but it says, oh, you can't play this unless you get the latest flash. Click here to download it. It's not YouTube. It's not the latest flash. It's a bad guy who has just tricked you into updating, quote, in quotes, updating to malicious software. So get it from the original manufacturer, whether it's Microsoft or Apple, whether it's Google for Chrome. Make sure you get it from the people who made the software. The P is passwords, and we talked a lot about this. It's very important that you use strong passwords, not share the passwords among multiple sites. Take advantage of two-factor authentication. You know, this update will sound very familiar to anybody who listens to this show. D, UPD, is download. Download software only from trusted parties. Do not download something you didn't specifically ask for. Be highly skeptical of third-party sites offering free software. Really is important not to download bad stuff, even and especially because these bad guys know how to trick you, to push your buttons. You won't believe what you did last night. Download this. Nah, don't. A, admin. That is, don't be an admin. If you're not an administrator, don't be an administrator. Log out, create a user account, and use that user account because you know what? The bad guys, the bad software gets whatever permissions you have. They're basically acting as you. So if you don't have permission to install software to modify your system, neither will the bad guy. Nah, this is inconvenient, but boy, it can make a big difference. I have to say modern operating systems, Windows 10, Windows 8, Macintosh OS 10, do a good job, even if you're administrator, of letting you know that something bad's happening, saying, are you sure? In Macintosh's case, you actually have to enter in the admin password. Windows is not quite so stringent. It'll just warn you. Not a bad idea. Certainly if you have kids, less sophisticated users on your system that don't know this, make them be limited users. This one I don't agree with, but it's not. He says, turn off your computer when you're not using it. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't know. He says it's true that nobody can hack you when your computer's not turned on, but if you do these other things, I don't think turning a computer off or turning your Wi-Fi off is going to make a huge difference. He says simply keeping your computer offline when you sleep reduces your threat profile by 1/3. Okay, maybe. That's the only one I would say, I wouldn't worry too much about that. E, the last letter in update, is encrypt. And this is true. If you lose your laptop, everything's on your hard drive. They don't need your password. They open up the computer, take out the hard drive, and they can get in there. So use full disk encryption on Windows and Mac. Windows has a BitLocker if you have a Windows Pro. Mac has File Vault for all versions of OS 10. There's also TrueCrypt and VeriCrypt and other encryption techniques. This really helps a lot. Use a VPN, encrypt your Wi-Fi traffic, especially when you're on an open access point. And the good news is Android and iOS phones now are encrypted by default. Google and Apple phones. If you get an Android phone from another manufacturer, turn on the encryption. It means you have to enter a password to turn on the phone. That's okay. Think about what's on your phone. And, of course, this is what's making the FBI crazy about iPhones because they're encrypted by default. You have to unlock them with your fingerprint or with a password. And if it's not unlocked, if the phone is off, nobody can see what's on it ever. They can turn it on all they want. Update. I'll put a link at techguylabs.com to the update protocol. I think it's good. I think he did a good job of summarizing 6 simple things that will make a huge difference. And of course, I think if you listen to this show, you probably are not vulnerable. Tell your friends. Karen, Newport Beach, Leo Laporte. Thanks for hanging on. The Tech Guy. Hi, Karen.
Hi, Leo. I wanted to ask two quick questions. I have a very smart TV and a not very smart TV, and the kids want to watch Amazon Prime. Is there a cable you can recommend from the computer to the TV?
No, don't do that. Don't do that. So the smart TV has Amazon on it, I presume. It has Netflix, Amazon, stuff like that, right?
Yes.
You want to smarten up the dumb TV. Best way to do that, not with a computer, with a little box called a Roku, R-O-K-U. They start at $69. You can get them from RokuLabs.com. Then you don't have to put a cable or a wire or anything. It uses Wi-Fi. Do you have Wi-Fi at the house?
Yes.
Yeah. It basically is an internet connection for any TV. Frankly, it's better than the smart software in your smart TV. It's updatable, has Amazon, has everything, all the Netflix, all the internet stuff. It basically brings internet television into your television set. And it's the best way to do this. RokuLabs.com. They have a variety of them. I have the new one. It's a little more expensive. I love it. The only negative to the Roku, it doesn't do Apple's iTunes stuff. For that, you need an Apple TV. Or just keep buying stuff at Amazon. You'll be fine. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Leo Laporte, I've been everywhere, man. The tech guy. Normally this song heralds the arrival of our peripatetic travel guru, Johnny Jett. He's in the air right now. I apologize. He will be on the show later today. As soon as he lands, he's going to text us. You know, sometimes when you're the peripatetic travel guy, you're traveling. He's traveling right now, but he'll be back. I think he went to Florida. His dad, I love Johnny's such a good boy. I hope my kids are like this. Johnny's dad's in his 80s, has one real passion in life. He likes to play the ponies. So he asked his dad, where do you want to go for your birthday? Dad said, somewhere warm with a racetrack. So they're down Del Rey in Florida. They're having a great time. But I think Johnny is on his way back. He's on a plane right now, and as soon as he arrives, we will do his travel tips. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. But you know what the good news? That means I can answer more calls. And let's go right to Elizabeth. She's on the line from Costa Mesa, California. Hi, Elizabeth.
Hi, Leo.
Welcome.
Thank you for taking my call.
Of course. Thanks for hanging on.
Okay. I've got a problem. I bought a MacBook Air off my friend a couple months ago, and I've been using it and stuff. And then I thought, I'll just wipe it. I wanted to format it and just.
That's a good idea, by the way. Always do that. There's temptation to say, oh, well, it's all set up and the software and everything, but really you should always wipe a computer. Yeah.
Yes. Well, maybe that wasn't too smart, though.
Uh-oh, what happened?
Well, I was in there, and I saw, like, more than 3 or 4 partitions.
Yeah.
And so I went ahead and deleted one. Well, then I turned it back on, and I never got back on like I did before, which is I got that death folder.
So let me just tell you what to do. It's really easy on a Macintosh because Apple had put in their infinite wisdom, unless this is super old, but it's not. It's a MacBook Air. You should be able to do this on any MacBook Air. You turn it off and turn it on, and while you're turning it on, you hold Option and R.
I did that.
Or Command R, rather, not Option. Command R.
Yeah, Command R, yes,
yeah.
I did that.
Okay, and then what that's saying is, I want you to repair or restore this Mac. Then you're going to go to the disk utility, not the installer yet. You want to wipe out all those partitions. Start over. So you go to the disk utility, and you're going to repartition it to one partition. No reason to have more than one. And then format it, and then exit out of the disk utility. It'll start up again with the installer, and you reinstall. Now, in order for this to work, you have to be able to go online. So if you have Wi-Fi, I hope.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. So you'll have to give it your Wi-Fi information.
Correct.
And then what it'll do, the next step, it'll say, all right, verifying that this Mac can install, and it'll install whatever version, it generally install whatever version of the operating system came with that Mac originally. It means you're still going to have to go through the update process. That's okay. But essentially what it's going to do is get your Mac exactly to the way it was the day your friend got it, which is what you want. Because you don't want to inherit all of the problems even potential security problems that might have been on there. So you did it. What went wrong?
Okay, well then I did that, the Command R, and I was in there, and that's when I actually deleted the partition. But I put a firmware password on there just to make sure, my own little security. Well, then I turned it off and back on, and that came up, and I went ahead, the lock picture, and then I went ahead and put that in, and then it's then I'm just stuck in the water. Then I'm just in the water. Now it won't. It asks for a PIN code, so I was having problems, and I thought, I used all my codes, and then I asked my friend about it, and he had already given me all his codes. Well, I took it to Apple here by Southwest Plaza, and I've been there like 10 times in the last 2 weeks. But they said that I need that PIN code. It's a iCloud PIN code, and I can't reinstall the OS, the El Capitan, without it. And then they also said that this PIN code does not pop up until someone wants to format or erase.
Right. All right. So in the same screen that had the disk utility and then install OS 10, there is a firmware password utility.
I did that.
And you turned off the firmware password?
No, I can't get back to there. I can't get back to that screen.
Oh.
I just get it running where there's a million little globes going by, and I can't get back to that screen. And when I picked it up from Apple, I asked them to print out a reason why they couldn't do it, and then they said it was they printed it out, and basically that I had to guess the numbers between 0000 and 9999.
No, because that will take you 10,000 tries.
Of course. So
let's not do that. They won't unlock it for you. Now, if you could prove ownership, they will unlock it for you. They can unlock it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. They said customer. Let's see.
Because what they're trying to do is prevent people from stealing Macintoshes.
Right.
And since you put a security code on your hard drive, the presumption is, and don't know it, that you stole it. But if you have proof of purchase, maybe your friend can help you with this, they can wipe it.
Okay. Yes, I do. But it says it's still the Find My Device, because he doesn't. It's in the iCloud, and it says it's connected to Find My Device.
Oh, I know. I hate this.
They ran it on mine because I have an iPad and my iPhone 6, and it wasn't there because with my code.
You brought it to the company Apple Store, right? Not just some guy.
But no. The Apple Store in Southwest Plaza. Yeah. So and now I'm just stuck in the water with this.
So they said they won't help you.
I asked him. I said I want you to print out something, and the genius.
No. They can wipe out the code. They can wipe out the code.
Yeah, but they said they didn't. I even showed them, and I even went back and found my friend, and he's going, I gave you all the codes and blah blah blah, and so that's what they printed out, and I'm just like pretty frustrated right now.
What they printed out was you need to guess something between 0000 and 9999. That was what they printed out.
Yeah, they said that this PIN code, does not ever come up unless you want to wipe the drive. So it didn't come up for anyone else either. So, basically they said I had to do that.
Well, you don't know that.
I know that, and I don't have time to do that.
Well, no, of course you know that.
I know.
Wait a minute.
It's ridiculous.
They're not going to wipe it. You showed them proof of ownership. That's, I think, the issue. They think they think you stole it, and they want to see proof of ownership because they know. You know what? They can wipe it. I could tell you that they can wipe it. They can reset it.
Yeah, exactly. And so I
But you asked.
I've been there like 10 times. I showed them everything. So
did they ask you for proof of ownership?
Yes, he did.
And did you offer it?
And I showed him, but I don't have.
You don't have proof of ownership.
I don't know. I don't have the exact receipt from the guy buying it in June of 2014. No.
And he doesn't have it.
No.
Then they won't. Then they won't help you.
No.
They can help you, but they won't help you because they say if you can't prove you, this is a.
Well, they were looking for this on my devices and my iPad, and my iPhone 6. I mean, it's.
No. The only way. Okay, there's a couple of things you can do. First of all, this is a. Unfortunately, Apple's done this with all their hardware now, an activation lock that prevents theft. More often than not, it prevents the legitimate owner from getting into their thing. You have to show them, if you could show them a bill of sale, they would wipe it for you. They can. There's a way to do it. If you can't, you can. There are ways. I'll put a link to an article that will tell you. You can remove the RAM. There's some step-by-steps you can do. That's what Apple would do that will reset it. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo. 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. Apple has added this. The deal is that they don't want. It's really a bigger problem on the iPhone and the iPad. They have, and I'm thinking maybe on the watch, but maybe not. If you want to reset the iPhone and the iPad, you have to have your iCloud password because they don't want to. They want to prevent bad guys from stealing phones, resetting them, and then selling them as new or selling them as used. A friend of mine is a writer for the New York Times. Her phone got stolen and put on eBay. And the guy who bought it on eBay said, wait a minute, there's somebody else's stuff on here. He contacted her and said, hey, I think I bought your phone. And she said, yes, it was stolen. And unfortunately, eBay's not helping them track down the seller, who was probably the thief. But and so she's trying to get a refund for the guy. But this has dramatically reduced, apparently, the amount of stolen iPhones out there because you can't really use them. Or if you do, you have to sell it with the other person's stuff on it, which means you're going to get caught. 8888 Ask Leo. Anyway, it's unfortunate, but that Apple is really requiring people to be able to prove they own something before Apple. But Apple can, in every case, there is a secret way, I don't know what it is, that Apple can reset these activation locks. Maybe they have a special machine, I don't know. But there is a way to do it, but you have to prove to them you own the phone, that you're not a thief. If you can't do that, you might be out of luck. Denise is in Santa Clarita, California. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Denise.
Hi, Leo. It's a pleasure to talk to you again.
Nice to talk to you.
I'm usually working on Saturday and Sunday, but I have the weekend off, and I'm spending it with you. Here's the background information on my issue. I have a Mac Mini 2 terabyte hard drive, and due to me going to school and just completing this month my AA degree, I have all of these extra art and photo files on my hard drive. I do have software that is a duplicate finder, but before doing that, I did do a off-site backup of all my files on my computer, which tell me
what you want, and then maybe I can help you. What is it you want to do?
Well, I have only 16 gigabytes.
You're running out of space is the problem.
Right.
Now, a 2 terabyte hard drive is very big. So it's usually the case that you have enough space. It'd be hard to fill that up. Even with your graphics design student, is that what you are?
Yeah.
It'd be very hard. How big are your documents? They can't be gigabytes and gigabytes. You have 2,000 gigabytes on there.
When I went to my hard drive for information, it said I had only 16 gigabytes.
Yeah, no, I understand, but I'm saying it's unlikely that you filled it up. So here's what I'm going to suggest you do. First of all, empty the trash. Have you done that lately?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Sometimes.
The problem is that we had a power outage, a maintenance power outage. So before that, I was notified, and I shut my computer down. Now I opened it back up again, and I just have the Apple screen, but I don't have the login information. So it's been like over an hour. So it's not showing in the login screen.
Oh, well, now your hard drive may be trashed. So that's a separate problem. 16 gigs is not enough to stop that drive from working. That's sufficient free space. It's not great, but it's enough. Yeah. But the power outage may have clobbered that drive in the middle of a write, and it sounds like it did, in fact.
No, it was the maintenance. I got a card in the mail. It was the maintenance power outage, though they let me know ahead of time. It was like Wednesday, so before that.
Did you shut it down?
Yeah, I shut it down just for.
Oh, well, then that didn't do anything. Unless maybe there was a surge when it came back. Was it unplugged?
No, it wasn't unplugged, but it was just off.
Always a good idea, if the power is out, to unplug your devices before they turn it back on. Because sometimes what happens when they first turn it back on is there's a surge. Computer hardware is a little sensitive to surges. I'm not sure that's what happened. It sounds more like your hard drive. I'll be honest, what it sounds like is your because I doubt you filled up 2 terabytes. You'd have to be putting movies on there and a lot of stuff. I don't know. I doubt you filled up 2 terabytes. So I think it's much more likely that what's happening is that hard drive already was dying. There was something wrong with it. So I'm thinking the best thing to do at this point is, there's something wrong with your hard drive. That's why your machine can't boot. If you had the hardware, if you had the technology, it would be easy enough to replace it. I don't mean replace it, actually. First repair it, and then if it's not repairable, replace it. At least to figure out what's wrong. But you don't probably have the technology. Opening a Mac Mini is difficult. Is it an internal drive? Is it inside the Mac Mini?
It's late 2012.
Yeah, but is the hard drive inside the box? The Mac Mini? It's not outside. It's not connected via a cable. It's inside the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's not, what Apple has some specially polished paint scrapers they use. They really are just paint scrapers, but they're made to look like fancy tools, and I'm sure they cost a fancy amount of money, that they use to pry those things open. They're actually held together by friction. In other words, not non-trivial. Best thing to do, Apple Store may not be the best place to bring it, because what they'll do in the service of expediency is say, well, good, you need a new hard drive, and they'll put a new one in. And everything that's on there is gone. So what you really want to do is you want to recover, because I gathered that do you have a backup of what's on this drive at all?
Yeah, I do. I just put it on-site backup.
Hallelujah. Oh, I thought this was going to be one of those calls.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was going to be oh, no, this is the only copy. Well, that's good. So even if the hard drive's bad, you still have everything that was on there, right? You're not going to lose anything. Yeah, all right. That's a relief. So now you can decide if, the easiest thing would be to take it to the Apple Store and they say, all right, we'll put a new hard drive in. And how recent is this Mac Mini? How old is it?
It's 2000. I bought it in December of 2012. So
yeah, so it's out of warranty, but if you bought AppleCare, just out of warranty. Did you buy AppleCare?
No.
Yeah. So it's out of warranty, so they're going to charge you, but it's not expensive to put a new hard drive in. So that would certainly fix it, and then you restore your backup. If you wanted to save money, you could try to recover that hard drive, although given how cheap hard drives are, it might be more expensive to recover the hard drive. And by the way, I think the hard drive's having problems anyway, so maybe you should just get a new hard drive and restore it. But that's what's wrong. That's why you can't boot it up, because it can't read the operating system off the hard drive. That's why nothing's. Do you get a Mac with a question mark? What do you get?
I have a Mac Apple logo.
Yeah, it's trying to load, but it can't.
Yeah.
So, if it were me, I would open up the thing with my specially crafted paint chippers, and I would take out the drive, and I would run some software on it to try to recover it. So, and a geek could do this, but you'd have to take it out to do that. And then, or boot, you could, if you had another, a geek would also have perhaps an operating system on a USB drive that he could boot to and then try to recover it without taking it out. Apple might be able to do that. But that's really only necessary if you want to save what's on the hard drive. If you've got backup on everything on there. I think you're probably all right. If you want to try to recover it, bring it to the Apple Store. Most of the time, though, they're going to say, yeah, your hard drive's dead. We'll give you a new one. Because it's faster and easier.
Yeah.
Right? If you wanted to get an external drive and put OS X on it, you could boot it up and then try to run some recovery software on it. There's not very many good choices on the Mac side. Most of the time, what I would do is I would run PC software on it, like SpinRite, trying to recover it. Don't worry about it. I bet a new hard drive, under $100.
Okay.
So fixing it may cost more.
Right.
Right?
Right.
All right. It's just a dead hard drive. You know what? The most common problem in computing is a dead hard drive. All right, we got Johnny Jet hanging out. He just got back. He's about to go to a Santa pub crawl with his dad. So he's dressed to the nines, not really. But it's radio, so I can say anything I want. He is going to give us his travel report. Save money on travel using technology when we come back, and I'll take more of your calls. Remember, website techguylabs.com, phone number 8888 Ask Leo. As we get closer and closer to the holidays, the Christmas holidays, New Year, in the middle of Hanukkah, if you've got a gift, buying a request, I can help you with that. 8888 Ask Leo. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. If you will excuse me momentarily, I would like to tell everybody, and you too, about a gift your dad will love.
Please.
It's called Bowl and Branch. They are our sponsors. I slept last night like a baby, not only because of my Casper mattress, but because I had, sleep. I am, and I think I'm not alone in this. We're starting to realize how important a good night's sleep is. It's one of the few things you can do to give yourself a great day. Certainly, it's key to having a great day. And sleeping soundly on a beautiful bed with great sheets, there's nothing like it. Then you get up and you take a shower, and you have wonderful towels. Your linens are very important, and Bowl and Branch is a great way to get a great night's sleep. B-O-L-L, as in, cotton boll, and Branch have reinvented bedding with the sole purpose of making your nights better. And what a great gift. They come in these beautiful boxes with ribbons on them. I thought when I got my Bowl and Branch, I said, who sent me a present? And these are my sheets. And by the way, one of the ways they cut costs is they don't sell through department stores. You know the average department store markup for sheets is 800%. You can only get Bowl and Branch sheets at bowlandbranch.com. So you're paying for the quality, not the department store overhead. Just a couple of $100 to treat yourself to the same luxurious and incredibly comfortable bedding that U.S. presidents and countless celebrities enjoy. We have the hemmed or the trimmed. I think we have the trimmed. These are gorgeous sheets. They're soft. That's what we have. Fair trade cotton. It's organic. You don't have to worry about how or where they were made or where the cotton came from. Plus, they donate a portion of every sale to charity. And these are so comfy. Now I want to get the towels, the blankets, the baby stuff, the hats, the scarves, everything. Here's the deal. Give the great gift of great sleep this holiday season. Visit bowlandbranch.com. Use my offer code TECHGUY. You'll get 20% off your entire order, including sheets, towels, blankets, duvet covers, and more. Let me see if I can find the boxes, because they come in these beautiful, beautiful boxes. They're so gorgeous, with the ribbons. Yeah, here they are. It's like a wedding gift, like you would wrap a wedding gift, and you open it up, and they're inside. It's got the rib. Oh, it's so nice. They were the first bedding brand to receive fair trade certification. Bowlandbranch.com. Offer code TECHGUY, 20% off. And they'll even let you try them risk-free for 30 days, so you got to love them. B-O-L-L and Branch, B-R-A-N-C-H.com. Don't forget that offer code TECHGUY. 20% off at checkout on your entire order. This is a nice gift. Oh, look, they have throws. Oh, these are nice. Oh, I got to get some of these. Because Lisa... wool makes Lisa itchy. So we have to get cotton blankets, and these are really beautiful. And again with the ribbon box, beautiful. It's like a gift that keeps on giving a good night's sleep. BolandBranch.com. Use the offer code TechGuy. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk computers and the internet and home theater and digital photography and smartphones and smart watches and all that jazz. Anything with a chip in it. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. And a little bit late because he was on a jet plane. Johnny Jet is here. He helps us travel better using technology, and he joins us each week. His website, johnnyjet.com. And you just got off a plane from Florida, from Miami.
From Miami, yep.
How's the
In
weather?
LA?
Was it beautiful?
It's hot and humid.
And I bet in L.A. it's also hot.
No, it's actually cool.
Cool. All right. Yeah, we've been having
62
rain
degrees.
since you were gone.
It was actually warmer today, I think, in New York than it was in L.A.
Yeah,
Imagine
New York's
that.
getting a weird heat wave after the
December
worst winter
12th.
ever last year. Crazy.
Yeah. So I got a tip for you, app and a website like normal. So this is an important tip that a lot of people don't realize, that starting January 1st, you cannot add extra pages to your passport. So if you just got a passport recently and you travel a lot, you better go send that thing in right now and get extra pages added if you don't already have it.
So
because
you keep a passport for 10 years, and it has to have pages for the visa stamps. And most countries stamp your visa. I got extra pages last time, so this time I just got a new passport, and I bought it with extra pages.
Okay, good.
But they're not going to let you. Well, what are they going to do?
So you have to renew it. You just
Get a
have to
new
get
passport.
All new passport, and that's what Canada was doing, and I thought that was terrible. So, but you know, in the past it's been a 28-page book, and now when you after January 1st, when you go to apply for a new one, you can just tick the 52-page
That's
book
what
for
I
no
got.
extra charge.
Yeah.
For no extra charge. Before they were charging.
Oh yeah, they charge, but it's thick. And you know what I love, and I saved my old passport. They punch a hole through it, but they give it back to you, because that's the record of I went to China and Russia. I mean, it's so great. I got a phony souvenir stamp from Machu Picchu, a souvenir stamp from the Falkland Islands. A lot of places don't stamp.
You're not supposed to even do that.
What?
You're not supposed to.
No souvenir stamps?
No, you're not supposed to do that.
Sorry.
I did that once in Cook Islands, on Bigfoot Island or One Foot Island, but. Anyway, but one way around, instead of, sending it away for 3 to 4 weeks, if you're traveling right now overseas, go to the embassy. When I was in Bangkok in October, my hotel was right next door to the embassy. I made an appointment there. 2 days later,
Nice.
it took me 1 hour and I got my pages added.
Nice.
It cost me $89 or something, but that's my tip. Get your pages added.
If you travel a lot.
Exactly.
I actually filled up that first one because I went to Canada every month, and that was, quite a few extra stamps.
Well, if you get Nexus and Global Entry, they won't stamp it anymore. So I've actually
That's
saved
maybe
a lot
where
of
we're
pages
headed
because of that.
Yeah, to a non-stamping world.
For sure.
Yeah.
So I got a great app for you. It's called City Mapper. It's been around for a few years.
I'll vouch for that one. Oh.
And I never featured it before. And someone mentioned it to me, and I was like, oh my God, I totally forgot about City Mapper. It's available. It's free, both on Android and iOS. My sister just texted me. She's just landing from the Caribbean and saying, how do I get into the city from Manhattan, from JFK? And I said, download City Mapper. I'll tell you step-by-step directions. And it has live updates. So I just looked for her right now, and it showed that the air train's actually not running right now today for some reason. I didn't look into it. But it will tell you, the prices for, rail, walking, train.
That's my favorite part is
taxi,
you
Uber.
say, I want to get from here to there, and it'll show you all of the public transport options. So you could say, do you want to take a bus, a subway, Uber? And that's fun, because then you can say, well, I want to optimize for price or time or for view. And it's really, I love City Mapper. We used it in London. It was great.
For sure. So it's in, in the U.S., it's in New York, San Francisco, L.A., D.C., Chicago, Boston, Philly, the major cities in Canada and in Asia, Europe. But what I like about it also is it shows the calories, how many calories you'll burn by walking if you choose the walking
One
app.
can always go Shanksmare. That's funny. That's so funny. That's a good encouragement, actually.
For sure.
It'll take you an hour and a half, but you're going to burn a lot of calories.
Without a doubt.
City Mapper, it's on iOS and Android, and I think it's free.
It's free.
I don't know how they make money, but
I just re-downloaded it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I got a website for you. So this is BBB's Scam Tracker, the Better Business Bureau's Scam Tracker. So this time of year, everyone's out,
Lots of them.
Stealing stuff. They're following, FedEx trucks, UPS trucks when you drop it off. But sadly, all year round, they're not just stealing packages. People are just trying to take advantage of people, especially through travel. So they'll say, get these free tickets, whatever. So you go here, and first of all, you can, scout out and see who all the scammers are or report a scammer in the U.S. or Canada. Or you can just type in and find out, if this ticket is legit that you're going to buy. Because I get questions all the time. I've never heard of this company. Should I buy it? And I'm like, well, I've never heard of it either. So I would not buy it, or I would just do a double check and make sure that, they haven't been around scamming people, or there could be a brand new scamming artist. So you got to be careful.
Yeah, I noticed a number of these scams are tech support. We hear about those a lot. Imposter IRS, debt collections, government grants. Oh, boy. Yeah.
But what I love about it is it calls people out, and it actually, shows who the scammers are.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
in all 50 states and Puerto Rico.
Phishing scams. Those are those phony email scams. Fake invoice. Boy, this is just one day. Wow. So far, 10,762 scams reported. It's the BBB
just
Scam
today?
Tracker.
No.
I don't know what the time frame is on that. They got a lot of them. bbb.org/scam tracker. That's a great site. It's just kind of fun to browse.
For sure. Say, hey.
But, it's a good idea to tell your less sophisticated family members, when people call, they're not always who they say they are. They may have other things, other agendas.
For sure.
We had somebody claiming to be from the utility company the other day and asked my wife for her Social Security number. And she just laughed at them.
Okay,
he said, yeah, right. I don't think so. So be smart. Yeah, don't even you say, well, I'm not giving them a credit card number. Well, even your birth date and a Social Security number is enough for them to steal your identity. So
and they prey for the elderly. I mean, they go after these guys. And I get emails from my dad all the time saying, "Is this legit?" I'm like,
Good.
No, this is not legit.
At least he's asking you. Yeah,
for sure.
Yep. JohnnyJet.com. That's Johnny's website. Great place to go to get all the travel information. Do sign up for his free travel newsletter. Where are you going next?
I'm here for the week with my dad. And I'm going to.
I know where you're going next. The SantaCon pub crawl. Look, are you going to put a Santa suit on, or is your dad?
I'll at least have a hat on.
Okay.
Yeah, I got to go downstairs in the basement and see what we have.
All right, Johnny. Well, watch out if you're in L.A. The Santas are on the prowl. Hi, Dad. Have a great Santa pub crawl. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Thank you, Johnny Jet. I appreciate it. We'll be back at our regular time next week. Johnny's just great. And we're going to take more calls at 8888 Ask Leo in just a bit. Stay right here. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Lots of holiday gifts. Microsoft's given away the top 10 or 10 of the top albums of 2015. Somebody in the chat room just mentioned this. Thank you. If you are on a Windows 10 machine, you just have to have the Groove app from this Groove store. But they've got a bunch of albums, and they did this last year. They gave away a bunch of albums. I building my music collection for free from Microsoft. Thank you, Microsoft. James Bay, Alabama Shakes, Selena Gomez, Ellie Goulding, Breaking Benjamin, Jeezy. Is it Jeezy or Yeezy? It's Jeezy, right? I don't know. I'm so unhip.
Yeezy.
Well, Yeezy was the album, right? By Kanye.
Yeezus.
Oh, that's Yeezus. Oh, man. So Nathan Staten, our musical director, says there's two of them in Jeezy? There's Young Jeezy, and then there's Yeezus. I don't know. So, Logic, I can pronounce that. Big Sean, featuring Chris Brown and Ty Dolla $ign. The music scene makes you feel old, doesn't it? It just maybe not you, me. It makes me feel old. And then you see Lady Gaga singing with Tony Bennett, and everything's right once again. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. Shell is in West Covina. Hi, Shell.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you.
What can I do for you?
I was trying to debate. I wanted to get an iPad, and then either you can get it with a Wi-Fi or a Wi-Fi and a data plan.
Ah, yes.
And sure.
Well, I can tell you that the Wi-Fi plus data plan is $129 more. Apple charges you $129 for that LTE connection, plus a monthly fee that's usually around $20, but it will depend on how much data you use. But it's $20 or $30 a month. It's just like getting a new phone. So a lot of people I notice these days are not doing the data thing. In fact, Google's newest tablet doesn't even have that as an option, because if you want, you could use your smartphone. You already have a smartphone in the data plan, and do what's called hot spotting. Turn your smartphone into a Wi-Fi access point. Now, most of your carriers will charge you for it, but usually it's cheaper, maybe like $20 plus whatever data you use. And you don't have to buy additional hardware. So you can get save $129 on the iPad. Truth is, you're mostly within Wi-Fi, right? At school, at work, at home, Wi-Fi everywhere, right? So it's only for those times. So you kind of also have to ask yourself, well, how often am I not near Wi-Fi that I need data? If you commuted like on a bus or a train, that might be a good reason. Okay. Do you?
Oh, no, not generally, no.
Most of the time, think about it. Where am I? I'm mostly by Wi-Fi, right, that you can use?
Well, if you if you had like your smartphone connected right there, but then if you had like a separate one, like I was thinking for my mom, and you don't have the internet at home, then you might think about that other one, or just get it. That's
a good one. So if you want to give it to somebody who doesn't have internet access at home, or you don't have internet access at home, this might be an affordable way to do it. The negative is it's just for that iPad. It can't be set, nothing else can use it.
Oh. Well, a lot to think about, I tell you that.
Yeah, actually, maybe I'm wrong on that. You might be able to share that Wi-Fi. I have to look and see. But generally speaking, it makes sense, but only if you don't have Wi-Fi almost everywhere. And nowadays, a lot of people do.
But you don't have to have for example, if you don't, because I don't have my smartphone yet, but if you just want to get an iPad, you can go to the hotspots and use it?
Yeah, absolutely. You can use it anywhere there's Wi-Fi, which is usually school, work, most of the time home. But if you don't have it at home, okay. If you didn't have it at home, that might be a reason to get it, because now you're going to have an internet-connected device.
Are they going to come out with, like, the iPhone 7?
Yes, they are. But don't worry, it's not for a while.
Like next year?
Yeah, they do it every year.
Next year? Or?
No, the good news is Apple realizes that people would be very upset with them if they did that. There is a rumor, I hate to tell you this. So Apple normally every September comes out with a new iPhone. They just came out with one 2 months ago in September, right? That's the iPhone 6S. So the 7, which would be the next one, probably won't be announced till September and then available shortly thereafter. But there is a rumor from a very reliable source, Mark Gurman at 9to5mac.com, that Apple's going to have a March event. And at that March event, they are going to announce, and this is a shocker too, a new Apple Watch. What? Really? Do you need? Okay, a new Apple Watch. And perhaps a new mini iPhone, a 4-inch iPhone. Go back to the smaller screen, because a lot of people don't like the big screens. And even with this iPhone 6S, it's still too big for some people at 5 inches. So they're apparently going to do a 4-inch iPhone. Mark's usually pretty accurate. So it won't be the main event, though. The big upgrade will be in September.
Okay. Well, I guess we're just going to have to wait and see, huh?
That's what you do with Apple. They're very smart that way, and that secrecy benefits them. It really does. Generally speaking, I think if you wanted, for instance, if you wanted to get Wi-Fi or internet access at home and you don't have Wi-Fi, you don't have internet access, it might be more sensible to buy a MiFi from a carrier that becomes an access point and uses the LTE. And, LTE is very fast these days. That might be more sensible. The truth, though, is if you did buy the LTE iPad, you don't have to activate it. I mean, you're going to pay $129 for the capability, but you don't have to use it right away. You can buy it by the month. So you can buy a month and then turn it off. It's not a long-term contract ever. So, and you can move your carrier around too. It'll take any of the big carriers, Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, or Sprint. So it's pretty convenient, pretty flexible. It's just that extra $129 up front. That's what's going to get you. I bought my iPad. I guess it was the Mini 4, the latest small iPad. I did buy the Wi-Fi, and the LTE. I never use it. I never use it. And then, so when I bought the iPad Mini, I didn't put that into that. I'm sorry. The names are getting to me now. The iPad Pro, the big one, I didn't put LTE in it because I realized it's too big. I'm not going to be carrying it around. So I'll always be at a Wi-Fi access point, either home or work. 8888 ask Leo. That's the phone number. I'm glad to help you spend money, but I try not to spend money unnecessarily. So I will often tell you, no, you shouldn't get that. Oh, here's a good one, though, you might want to look at. I haven't tested it yet, but Google just announced, they have this little Chromecast audio thing. We've talked about Sonos, the idea of putting music in every room, and it's expensive. If you have powered speakers, whether it's your stereo or you have Bluetooth speakers, you can, for about $25 with this Chromecast audio, you can internet enable it so it can listen to music from iHeartRadio, Pandora, Spotify, things like that. And now they have a new multi-room feature, which I haven't tried, but knowing Google is probably pretty good, that will let me, for every one of these I have in the house, so I could play Christmas music throughout the entire house. And the good news is, if Kim Schaffer were staying late or something and I wanted to get rid of her, that would work, because she hates Christmas music. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. And we're going on to Steve. He's in Palm Desert. Hi, Steve.
Well, good afternoon. I'm a long-time listener, and I never wanted to be a first-time caller.
Well, unfortunately, sometimes you just got to call. What's up?
So I had to replace my iPhone 6. It was dialing numbers while I was talking to other people.
Oh, that's not good.
No. I heard someone else, my hairdresser said the same thing happened to her when she upgraded. But anyway, forgetting about that, yeah, she said you're right in the middle of a call, and it opens up your contacts, and it starts paging through them. It picks one spontaneously. I'm not touching the phone now. I'm on a
That's
website.
terrible.
And it starts dialing numbers. Of course, as soon as it dials, it knocks you off.
Yeah.
You can hear the other person talking to you.
I wonder if somebody's messing with your Bluetooth. No, you couldn't. It couldn't do that.
I'm on a wire.
You're wired? Yeah, no, that's a bad bug.
Yeah, it was a bad bug. So I said, well, let's save everything. I was in, this time last year I was in Morocco, then I went to Europe to summer, so I have 3,963 pictures on my camera roll.
Wow.
And I said, I haven't been using my Mac because Outlook sucks on a Mac. And so I've been using my PC. I said, I'll back them all up to my PC. I just got Windows 10, and I used that photo app, and I counted them. It had all 3,963, and I sort of closed it up. And then the phone was so bad, though, iTunes on my PC would not recognize my phone. It would be there for about 2 seconds and then disappear. So I went back to my Mac. My Mac recognized it. I'd already taken off all the pictures because someone said, it's going to be a drag with all those pictures on it. So I said, I already saved them with my PC. So I did my backup on my MacBook, the phone, and reinstalled a new phone. And then I said, I got all my pictures on my PC. I open up the new Photos app, and I have like 600 pictures.
Oh, it's probably still syncing. Here's a way to verify whether they're there or not. You must have turned on the iCloud photo library at some point.
I hope I didn't, because I only have 5 gigs, and I had like 20 gigs of pictures.
Oh, yeah, right. And you'd run out of room on your iCloud if you did that.
Right. And it disappeared. And one other thing that's happened also.
By the way, I hear so many tales of woe about the new Photos app pretty much every week, and the new Apple Music stuff. But it's unpredictable. Most people have no problem, and then some people have horrific problems, including the worst kind of problem, which is missing images or missing music. That's what you don't want to have happen.
Right. One of the websites I was looking at said, if you are adventuresome, try Photos.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Well, but I guess, our real advice is before you try Photos, make sure you back up your photos somewhere else. Did you use OneDrive since you're Microsoft?
No, I don't even know what OneDrive is.
OneDrive is Microsoft's cloud storage, like iCloud. You're on Windows, you said. And they offer a considerably larger amount for free or some very inexpensively. And you can put the OneDrive app on your iPhone. Here's what I do, because I don't want to lose a photo. Now, this isn't going to help you, but for future reference, Google's Photos offers free unlimited backup of your images. Just like it's kind of like the Apple Photos app, but Google Photos, that's free. Flickr, which is a Yahoo property, a terabyte of backup. That's more than enough. Because you only have 20 gigabytes. That's 1,000 gigabytes. OneDrive, pardon me, all of these will do this automatically if you download the app and there's a checkbox that says, yes, please, automatically, every time I take a picture or video, upload it. Or wait till I'm on Wi-Fi. So it's the same as iCloud. It's automatic backup, but you can back it up. I back it up to OneDrive, Flickr, Amazon also, if you're an Amazon Prime member, Amazon Photos. Okay, same thing, unlimited. By the way, Amazon's the best deal if you're a Prime member because it's unlimited full quality of all of your images. You could have 100 terabytes.
That was my question. Am I going to get a 5 terabyte picture versus my 10?
Yeah. The nice thing about Apple's solution is it's smart about Apple hardware. So, for instance, if you turn on iCloud Photo Library, you shouldn't since you don't have enough storage, but if you turn it on, it would only keep thumbnails, appropriate sized photos for your iPhone on your iPhone. It would keep the originals, and this is what I was going to ask you if you've logged into your iCloud, because the originals would be kept on the cloud there, and then smaller versions or more, or let's say image-appropriate versions to the various devices, iPad, iPhone, and desktop. So that's smart. That's nice. That's when it all works right.
And then I can set it up so it's only when I come home and I've got files at home.
Yes.
Just zip them right up there.
Yeah. The key is really to have a backup. Because you lost last month's. But the synchronization is always a little tricky because, do you have it there? Do you have it there? Which one is the original? How do I keep both copies? It can always be troubling. And so apparently it sounds like it didn't do it right. And I do hope you didn't actually lose all those photos. Apple should never, under any circumstance, delete photos, but you can see where this might have happened because the iCloud photo library is saying, well, I'm going to put the original on the iCloud, and then I'm going to put smaller thumbnails on the phone up to the capacity of the phone. So it could, if it thought it was doing the right thing, upload everything from your phone, delete it, put smaller versions. If some got lost, that deletion could, I mean, I can see things happening. I hope that's not what happened. I would continue to look around, maybe let everything sync a little bit more. Maybe it's still somewhere, like on a desktop somewhere.
Right, and one other thing with photos. So I finally found, okay, here's photos, and here's my 900 pictures left. And we were at a huge Thanksgiving party, and I was taking pictures of the yin yang. I had one from there. But so I found an old album with me and my wife, recently married, and from a few years ago, and I pulled it on. And, copied it over from, I can't remember where I copied it over from, but I opened it up in Photos, and all of a sudden, half of the pictures come up gray.
They've lost all the color?
Well, they half of
that means they're damaged. Yeah. They're just gray, like a gray background, yeah.
They weren't damaged when it opened up. I could see the picture clearly, and then slowly the gray started creeping up.
Oh, man. You have a haunted iPhone.
I do. And my daughter don't let me touch the computers.
Your iPhone is haunted somehow. I don't understand what's happening.
I was on my PC using the photo windows.
This is like Back to the Future. You didn't accidentally go back to the future and have your parents not get married or something. The images are turning gray. What? That's weird.
And so some of them are totally grayed out. Some of them are half grayed out.
This really sounds like bad syncing. And Apple's the king, by the way. Apple is absolutely, there is no one better at screwing up cloud storage than Apple. They should just stop doing it.
I never use cloud storage.
Well, I would log in just in case. Okay. Log into your iCloud account just in case.
Okay.
And just see if they're there. I'm hoping maybe they're on the Windows PC.
Somewhere.
If
I had an old backup, so if I had used my iPhone.
If you backed up your iPhone, those pictures were backed up with the backup.
Right, and even though I used a newer backup on my PC, okay.
Yeah. So, but if you sometimes you have it set when you connect to iTunes, it backs your phone up. That backs up photos. So you might have them in a backup as well. I'm not sure what happened. Apple has done this to other people. I haven't had this happen. But my solution to this is use as many different services as you're willing to. Google, Amazon, Microsoft, Dropbox, and store the photos there too. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Have I told you? I know I have. This is a rhetorical question. Have I told you about my Epson EcoTank printer? Actually, I don't have an Epson EcoTank. I have last year's Precision Core printer, which I love, the Workforce Pro. And now, the next time I'm getting a new printer, I'm getting the EcoTank. And I think Epson needs to be patted on the back for this, because they decided to do what customers want, which is put all the ink in the box. 2 years worth of ink. No cartridges. They're gone. No more cartridges. On these EcoTank printers, they have big old tanks on the side. You see that? And 2 years worth of ink in the box. This is the ET4550. Great all-in-one printer. It does have the Precision Core technology. That's 40 million drops per second. It's fast. My Precision Core printer, about 3 seconds a page. And it's done. Quiet. Crisp, laser quality black text, vivid colors. I use the auto two-sided printing all the time because it saves me paper. 30-page auto document feeder, which really works. It prints wirelessly from everything, tablets, smartphones. It's so easy to use. And when you get the EcoTank version, it has 11,000 black pages in that tank, or say 8,500 color pages, about 50 ink cartridge sets worth. And when you do finally, after a couple of years, run out of ink, ultra low-cost replacement ink bottles. There are a whole range of super tank printers from Epson. All kinds of models for big business, little business, depending on your print, and it's just great. They all have an unbeatable combination of convenience and value. Ultra low-cost ink replacement bottles, or kind of those little, I don't know what you call them, Boda bags. I don't know. It's just a great solution. And you got to pat Epson on the back. I do, anyway. I have to pat Epson on the back because, people said to them, I don't want to run out of ink in the middle of a print job anymore. I don't want to have to go buy cartridges. I just want to print. And so they said, all right. And by the way, the refills, the refill bottles or the Boda bags, they're very affordable. So they're really, but you should be aware when you buy the printer, it's going to be a little bit more at the store, but that's because you don't have to buy the ink for 2 years. I just love them. Visit Epson.com/EcoTank today. Transform the way your home, your office, your work group prints. Really great for a work group and a business, I tell you. Best combination of ease and value. Turn to the new Epson EcoTank printers, epson.com/EcoTank. Epson, exceed your vision. And we thank them so much for their support of the Tech Guy podcast. I'm a woolly bully. Watch me now, Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy, and woolly bullying his way into your heart. It's Dick DeBartolo, Mad's maddest writer.
Indeed.
Yeah, and our gizwiz. Oh, you've Santified the place.
Oh, yeah, but Kim will, wait, hang on. Kim will not like this because Santa...
Sleigh's loaded up and I'm ready to go to fly through the sky in the Christmas snow. Got lots of stops and it's going to be tricky quick. Let me take a selfie.
No, I like that.
Oh, no, it's
That's
Selfie Santa.
It is so clever. It's Selfie Santa. He has a little fake cell phone in his hand and a little LED flash.
Oh, man.
That he sings, and every time he says, let me take a selfie, I think it's very clever.
That's funny. Selfie
it's not my gadget, but it's $20 and it's Toys R Us and
that's
Bed Bath & Beyond. Everybody has
That's
it.
cute. And all they do is they take that singing bass and they just put different costumes on it.
Yeah.
Hey, you'll be proud of me. I bought my first selfie stick the other day.
Yes?
Yeah. I just bought it and threw it away immediately to keep it out of the market, keep it off the market.
Oh, I see. Okay.
No, actually, I haven't. I thought, I was in Vegas, and I don't know, Las Vegas, I don't know about you, but Las Vegas, to me, it says it's selfie time.
Oh, yeah. I think
wanna
they
walk
give them
around.
out at the airport.
Yeah.
I think it's required. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to Las Vegas? Here, take this.
Yeah.
Take this.
There's a couple of things I always get when I'm in Vegas. One is the old decks that they use at the tables.
Oh, yes, right.
I guess they only use them once. So then they sell them. It was cheap. I got 5 decks for like $3. And they,
the marked ones, I think, are $8.
They're a little more expensive.
Yeah.
But they're easier to play with. And then I got some dice too, which I'd never done before. So now we're set for game night if you ever want to come over.
Wow, yeah.
So what do you got for us today?
God, I have a great gift idea for kids. There are 2 versions of it. The most advanced version is called Super Moon in My Room.
Oh, dear.
And Super Moon is
We used to play that game when I was a kid.
Yeah, it's a different game.
Before technology.
Yeah. This is a game that doesn't involve pictures and getting arrested.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
It's a different Super Moon, I guess.
It's a different Super Moon.
Okay.
So it's a 13-inch, 3-dimensional moon that you hang on the wall. And it has a built-in clock. So you set it for the day, the month, and the year. And then it's like a night light. So when you go in, you click it on with a little remote. Whatever the outside moon is doing, the moon in your room is exactly the same.
Kids have it so good today. They don't even have to look out the window anymore. Man.
If it's an eclipse, there are little gold LEDs behind it.
What?
So it lights up the wall. So the moon is dark, but you see the glow of the sun behind.
This is great. I don't care if I'm a kid. I want this.
Yeah. It also has sound effects if you want. It has moon landing sounds, or rather the astronauts talking when they were on the moon.
Oh, wow.
And, it's $45, which I think is not bad. Now, if you don't want the moon to match the outside moon, they make another version that's simply called Moon in My Room. It's a little smaller. It's 10 inches. It still has remote control, but you manually set what the phase of the moon is.
It's too much work.
Yeah, and that's $24.
Yeah, that's for kids who, their parents make them work.
Yeah,
You're gonna set this moon, and you're gonna like it.
Yeah.
I'm not letting you do that automatic moon. No.
And I'm spending $45, and so at the end of next year, you better be an astronaut.
Yeah. This I like this. And by the way, the selfie Santa is also on your webpage if you want to find a link to that. Gizwiz.biz. Super Moon in My Room. That's available. I saw it on Amazon.
Yeah, and the plain one is just Moon in My Room.
Moon in My Room.
Right.
Moon over my bedroom. And if you go to gizwiz.biz, you'll be at Dick's site, which is a great site. And all the links to all that stuff are there. And a link to his game, which he plays every other month.
It's winding down.
Yep. What the heck is it? Ends up at the end of the month.
Yep.
Here's a picture. Do you know what it is? It's a picture of a gadget. And if you do, or you make up a good, silly answer, you're going to win an autographed copy of Mad Magazine. All the rules and information at gizwiz.biz. The last one, the corn stripper, completely fooled me.
Oh, good.
Yeah. But this one, I think I know exactly what it is.
Okay.
It's a six-pack maker. A little miniature six-pack maker.
Oh, gives it away every time.
Or you can make tiny pancakes with it. I don't know. I really don't know what it is. It seems like a rubber grommet and maybe, I don't know.
No, but people are very clever. In the chat room, someone said a finger trap for a group of people. Send that in.
Yeah. You could win an autographed copy of Mad Magazine. Gizwiz.biz. You're in New York. It's 80 degrees.
It's 67 to 68.
Crazy.
Yes.
Crazy. And this time last year, you were under 10 feet of snow. You just don't
Exactly.
know. You don't know what to do.
Well, now finally the snow is going away.
What are your plans for the holidays? Do you have anything special planned? Are you gonna?
No, I'll probably go. Now that you're not doing your New Year's Eve thing, I'll probably go back to Central Park for the fireworks.
Oh, I feel bad about that. For the last couple of years, we had a New Year's Eve marathon. It was so much fun, but my wife said never again.
No, that's
maybe because I shaved my head and got a tattoo. I don't know.
Yeah, and worked for 30 hours straight.
Yeah, that's not so bad. But we got one of our sponsors is a razor company. Harry's Razor, and they
Harry's,
contacted us, say if Leo's going to shave his head again this year, can we advertise on that segment?
Right.
But so now I'm thinking maybe we should have. That's an opportunity missed.
No, I don't think so.
Dick's great to talk to you. Happy
Thank
Hanukkah.
you, sir.
Getting ready for Christmas. We'll talk again next week, right?
I'll be here.
David's in Spring Hill, Florida. I think this is going to be our last call of the day. Hi, David.
Hi, Leo. Great to talk to you again. Thank you for taking my call.
Oh, my pleasure. What can I do for you?
Quick. Well, I'm an analog guy in a digital world. What can I do?
Okay.
Story of my life.
Yeah.
Great. I'm a ham radio operator, among other things, so I'm quite familiar with frequencies and just all of that. And I can go around the world in one day on my ham radio. I love
it. I'm a ham as well, W6TWT. I don't get to practice.
Yep. Well, here's my question anyway. I wanted to upgrade the lighting in my home, so I decided to go with new LED lighting.
A lot of noise from those LEDs, isn't there?
Lots of noise.
Yeah.
So I called the electrician in. I had a conversation.
No, it's the lights.
Got started and told him I didn't want it if that was going to be the problem. So sure enough, he replaced them in my kitchen. And lo and behold, can't receive AM and FM when the lights are on.
Yeah, so it's a couple of things. First of all, the lights have to be properly wired. They're switched.
Yes.
And rapid switching, it's transmitting.
Yep.
So a good pair of LEDs, and there are good and bad, will be RF protected. You know, it's still going to have the switching, but they'll be shielded.
Right. Well, there's some that are made in Germany. We tried those. Didn't seem to help at all. So finally I said to him, okay, that's not going to work, obviously, because I have my FM radio on all day. Doesn't come through the ham frequencies, just 87 to 108 FM broadcast band.
Yeah, you're not the first person I've heard from. I don't know what the answer is to this, except you got to look around. Some are better shielded than others. You should also check your switches, especially if they're dimmers. You know that. You're an analog guy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. Thank you so much for being here. And don't forget, it's just the tip of the iceberg. We do nearly 30 shows on the Netcast network. It's called TWIT, T-W-I-T. It stands for This Week in Tech, and you'll find it at twit.tv, including the podcasts for this show. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on Mac Break Weekly, iPads, iPhones, Apple Watches on iOS Today, security on Security Now. I mean, I can go on and on. And on. You even get your daily dose of tech news with Tech News Today and Tech News Tonight. And, of course, the big show every Sunday afternoon, This Week in Tech. You'll find it all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next week with another great Tech Guys show. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time.